Welcome to the April edition of Northeast Journal. I'm your host, Joe Cullen. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll devote our entire show to autism. April is Autism Awareness Month, so we're bringing you a show full of stories and interviews about some amazing kids with autism and the people who work with them. All that and more is straight ahead on Northeast Journal. Hello everyone, and welcome to the April edition of Northeast Journal. I'm your host, Joe Cullen. Every month on Northeast Journal, we give you an inside look at the people and places that make up the Northeast section of the Twin Cities. April is Autism Awareness Month, so we're devoting our entire show this month to that topic. Autism is a complex disorder of brain development. These disorders are characterized in varying degrees by difficulties in social interaction, verbal and nonverbal communication, and repetitive behaviors. It's estimated that around 1 in 68 American children are on the autism spectrum. So for the next half hour, we're going to meet kids, families, and professionals who have all been impacted by autism. First up, let's meet a group who train therapists of the furry variety to help people with autism. At first glance, Jonathan Prenovo looks like your typical 7-year-old boy. He loves movies and spending time creating Lego masterpieces. Learning and socializing don't come as easy to Jonathan as other 7-year-olds, though, as he is on the autism spectrum. His parents, Pia and Dan, have tried many therapies to help him succeed, and they recently added a new member to the family to help him even more. This new addition is Duncan, an assistance dog that the Prenovos received from Can Do Canines. Pia tells us what it was like when Duncan first arrived at their home in February.
Jonathan was very excited to have a dog and really had a lot of pride in the idea that this was his dog, and he got to do stuff for the dog, and I don't know, that pride might be wearing off a little bit now. He has to do chores, but it's been a really good experience.
Assistance dogs from other organizations can typically cost up to $25,000. But Can Do Canines provides their dogs for free.
I just kept wondering where the fine print was. You know, it's like, wait a minute, they're going to give us a dog that they've invested all this time and money into, and they don't want anything in return. So, and that's exactly what it is. You know, we would never be able to afford an assist dog for Jonathan.
Can Do Canines, located in New Hope, trains close to 40 dogs a year that are placed in homes to help people with diabetes, seizures, mobility and hearing issues, and autism.
We train these dogs to keep the child safe every time they're in public. These kids don't have a natural fear, and they'll run into traffic or run into other dangerous situations. So anytime they get away from mom and dad, they're in danger of being hurt or killed. And what we do is we tether the child and the dog together so that if the child gets away and runs, the dog will lay down and not allow that child to go into dangerous situations. It can never be any further than 6 feet apart from the child and the dog. And the parent then can get control of the situation and calm the child and get back to normal business.
Executive Director Alan Peters started Can Do Canines 25 years ago. They survive entirely on donations so that they can give their assistance dogs to those who need them for free. It can take nearly 2 years to train an assistance dog with the help of volunteers. Peters has seen many individuals with autism benefit greatly from assistance dogs, not only with safety issues, but also socially.
People who would never have talked to these kids before now walk up to the kids and say, "What's your dog's name? How old is your dog? Can I shake his paw?" Those kinds of things. And before you know it, the children who don't normally communicate very well are now starting to talk to these strangers. And that's a great experience for mom and dad to see their child interacting with others.
Jonathan is a good-natured child who is very intelligent. His parents think Duncan will help him to relate even more with other people.
When they evaluated us, what they found was they wanted a dog with some more energy, because Jonathan's a pretty low-key, hard to bring out of his shell kind of kid. And so they gave us, Duncan, who has, doesn't get riled with other children, is very easygoing in that respect, but also has some energy and is kind of bringing Jonathan out of his shell.
It can take quite a few years to get a dog after being on a waiting list, but for the Prenovo family, the wait has been worth it.
Our goals with having an assistance dog is to have someone who can help keep Jonathan safe, who can be help bring him socially out of his shell, to help teach Jonathan what it is to have responsibility, and then to also have a dog that we know can help manage the upsets that come with Jonathan, because at times he has upsets, and not every animal would necessarily be able to handle that, but these dogs have been trained to really deal with those things.
Duncan will play many roles in Jonathan's life in the years to come, but it looks like the most important one is being a great friend.
Overall, he's kind of a constant in Jonathan's life where, like his teachers and friends and everything have expectations, either socially or academically, and Duncan has no expectations at all. He's just there. And he's always a friend to him and always has a big wet tongue for him.
If you're interested in learning more about Can Do Canines, visit their website at can-do-canines.org. You can donate money at their website and also learn about volunteer opportunities, including fostering a dog until they are fully trained. There has been a nationwide movement the last few years to get people to stop using the R word, which is incredibly offensive to people with autism and other special needs. Producer Mary Klein and photographer Nick Anderson introduce us to a group of people who are working hard to end the use of the R word.
I remember Sean, since I was new at the school, he was like just one of the first people that came and said hi to me and was like trying to be my friend and everything, and we would talk, and he just made me feel more welcome in White Bear. His smile, he's got the most contagious smile. Every time I see him in the hallway, I just he smiles and it just lights up my day, and I just know that it's gonna be okay.
That Miss Frankie, the teacher, she's awesome.
He's very good at making me laugh.
Sean's class clown. It's cool. He knows how to make people laugh. He knows, how to make good friends, and he's made a lot of those. So I'm one of them.
A lot of kids my age think that it's okay to use the R word, retard, in a derogatory use, as if it was a synonym to stupid, and it's really not. It's somebody that has a disability.
If Sean, he doesn't like the R word, I don't like the R word. I don't think anybody likes the R word. So why not just take a stand and say let's not do it?
Because you can't say it hurts your heart. Just don't like it.
I have an the R word shirt myself, and I wear it proudly, and I wear it not just in school, I wear it all over, so that's one of my free advertising, basically is what I'll put it as, to help spread the word not to use the R word. Would you want to be put in that situation? Would you want to be Sean feeling badly if he's called the R word? I wouldn't. Plain and simple.
Why would you want to use it if it offends someone else?
I have other friends too with disabilities, and my own mom has a disability and stuff, so when people say that, I actually do take it to heart, and it does still hurt me and hurts my friends, and I don't like to see people hurt. I don't like getting hurt myself.
It's time for a short break. We'll be right back to chat with the Executive Director of the Autism Society of Minnesota.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back to Northeast Journal. I'm now joined in the studio by Jonah Weinberg, who is the Executive Director of the Autism Society of Minnesota. And Jonah, I want to thank you for being here today.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
I know we've had you on in the past, but we thought since April is Autism Awareness Month, it would be a good time to have you on again.
We're thrilled to be here and talk about that.
And first off, what exactly is the Autism Society of Minnesota for people who aren't familiar?
Well, the Autism Society is a nonprofit organization that focuses on education, advocacy, and outreach. And we actually turned 45 this year, so we were established in 1971. And when we were founded, it was by largely a group of parents who were really frustrated with the lack of resources for kids in schools. Well, back then, the prevalence rate of autism was 1 in 10,000. And today it's 1 in 68. So that prevalence has really increased. And over those years, as the prevalence has increased, so have the programs that we've been able to offer. So we do classes, we do summer camp programs, we do educational series. Our big conference is coming up, and just a whole host of activities, in addition to work we do at the Capitol and with policymakers to make sure that there are enough resources, or try to make sure that there will be enough resources for families affected by autism.
I can only imagine back in the early 70s, trying to get that information probably before the Autism Society existed was tough. I mean, you didn't have the internet.
That's
or
right. A lot of
things
people,
like that.
There are probably a few people watching this can't imagine what it was like before the internet. But yeah, that was a time when people would have to go to the library, and the library might not carry those books. So one of the things that we started early on was a lending library for families to help them understand the different issues and the top-rated research behind what are the most effective therapies and what can people do at home, and how do you help your child be as successful as possible.
Well, especially autism can still be confusing enough today, but especially back then, I'm sure there was even a lot more misinformation and people having a hard time understanding things. So to have a place they could go and share things,
to share
learn
things,
from other parents.
To learn, and really that community with other parents is really important, because for a lot of parents who have a child with a new diagnosis, and these days you can get a diagnosis as early as 18 months, but in those days it was probably more around 3 to 5. For those parents dealing with a new diagnosis, they often feel like they're on their own. And so to have a place where they can connect with other parents, some who've already been through what they're doing and others who are going through the same thing, can really be helpful and help you know that you're not alone, that people have been through this, they've come out the other side. Their child may still have autism, but they're doing well and succeeding. And these are people you can connect with and have that sort of fellowship.
Now, as you mentioned, you guys do an awful lot throughout the whole year. Just recently you had the Steps of Hope Walk, which is an annual event. And,
right.
It's already happened for this year, but can you just kind of briefly tell me how that went?
Absolutely. So Steps of Hope, this was, I believe, our 16th or 17th year, and we hold it the first Sunday in March. And we do it at we're now doing it at Southdale Center in Edina. And it's an enclosed space so that regardless of the weather, people can show up and participate. And we do it in the morning when families, often the kids are awake, and this is a way to go out and have something to do with the whole family, participate in the walk, and then you've still got the rest of the day to do whatever the family wants to do. But in addition to being a walk, it's not measured, but we also do a resource fair. So we bring together somewhere between 50 to 70 different resource providers who are there to share information about the services they have to offer, perhaps products, different therapeutic options, and a variety of things like that. So it's all sort of under one roof, and families have the opportunity to engage with other families who are there, to have some fun, and learn about what resources are available to them in the community.
And I'll add that most of my viewers of the show probably know by now, but I have a young son with autism, and we've been regular attenders of that walk. And as always, it was well attended, and like I said, some great resources, and a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. We had Goldie Gopher this year. We had a whole parade of Disney princesses. We had people in costume. Our theme this year was Autism Heroes, and so people did come in costumes, and that was a lot of fun. And generally, we just want people to come and learn and engage with each other.
And it's neat to see the wide variety of people there. You have everything, like I said, from the really little kids who maybe have just been newly diagnosed, and you have, young adults or even older with it. And I know even for my family, when, my son was really young, it was kind of inspiring to meet some of these young adults and realize, like, oh, things can get better.
Absolutely.
And, these families are still surviving, and just even to meet new people and kind of pick their brains on things that have worked well for them.
You're going to see little kids and you're going to see grown adults with autism. And that's another thing that people often forget is we focus often on the kids. And that's very important that kids get diagnosed early, that they get into early intervention services. But all of these kids grow up to be adults. And very often we lose focus on the fact that there's a whole host of adults out there with autism who are struggling in their own way, and we need to make sure that the right resources and services are in place so that they can be successful as well.
Well, I've noticed that from some of your, different mailings and newsletters. It seems like a lot of the things you offer at your conferences and classes, you have things for, parents that their kids are going through adolescence or are getting old enough now where maybe they're going to be done with school and they're looking to enter the workforce, or maybe even live on their own, that type of thing. So
right, and parents are often so focused on what's going on right now that it's hard for them to look forward 5 years, 10 years, and kind of have an eye toward those things. It also can be hard for a parent to recognize that their cute little one is growing into an ornery teenager, and that's not autism, that's just adolescence.
And that's one thing we talked about briefly before the interview, that I think there are a lot of parents who just, they're so autism-centric that sometimes you have to step back and realize, like, oh, typical kids,
Typical kids do a lot of these things.
Especially, like I said, going through adolescence or, whatnot. Their kids are going to be moody, no matter what.
and it's so important to help them prepare for their grown-up years because, when they're little, you're focusing on what do they need right then, but we have to help them understand that rules change as they get older. What a 6-year-old can get away with is different from what a 15-year-old can get away with. And actually, one of the things we're seeing more and more now is confrontations with law enforcement and emergency responders. So one of the things we're very proud of is that we've been doing a lot of training for police forces and emergency responders around the state, and actually we've done a few out-of-state trainings as well. But we just finished a series of training for the Metro Transit Police, and so all of their officers have been through it, and we've done it. We've worked with Minneapolis Police, with St. Paul Police, and police around Duluth. In fact, the Duluth PD wrapped a squad car with our logo for Autism Awareness Month, and that was at the Steps of Hope Walk, so that was a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, I remember that was outside there during the walk. And you mentioned earlier you have a conference coming up later in April. Can you give me a little info about that?
Absolutely. This is going to be our 21st annual conference. It takes place April 27th to 30th. So we go the last Wednesday of April through the following Saturday. And we have, I believe, 7 keynote speakers and about 40 breakout sessions. And our audience that we're trying to reach out to are parents, educators, caregivers, and mental health professionals. There's something there for everybody, whether you have a child with a new diagnosis or whether you're an adult or you have an adult child that you're trying to help figure out what their path forward is going to be. And it's at the DoubleTree in St. Louis Park at the West End. And it's always a fascinating experience to sit through. And we bring in nationally recognized experts and speakers, as well as local experts who often lead breakout sessions on a variety of different topics.
I know just from looking at the agenda, it seems like there definitely would be something for everyone. If anything, I'm sure it's hard to decide between all the things because there's so many great things. Yeah.
We added, when we started out 21 years ago, it was really a parent-focused conference, and I think it started out as one day. And it's grown into one of the larger conferences in the country. And a few years ago, we added a mental health track to it, and that was really focused on beefing up the understanding amongst mental health providers, whether they're psychologists, social workers, psychiatrists, et cetera. A lot of them know the mental health aspect, but they don't understand when autism gets added into the mix, and they get kind of confused by that. And so what we really try to do is help them understand so they can be better equipped to deal with this growing population of adults with autism who need a little help in getting squared away so they can be successful.
And now another thing I know the Autism Society has going on are a lot of programs throughout the summer, especially when the kids are out of school and teens are out of school. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is going to be our 39th year of summer camp programs for kids with autism. And while I'd like to say it's the oldest summer camp program in the nation for kids with autism, I don't know that for sure, so I can only say it's one of the oldest. And then we do a series of social skills camps for kids here in the metro primarily, and we've done a few in Duluth as well. And those we do in partnership with Como Zoo, the Minnesota Zoo. We're doing it with the Science Museum, Minneapolis Institute of Art, and a variety of others, where we're integrating social skills learning with fun activities. So it's not really sitting in a classroom and learning about social skills. It's about doing fun things and having that sort of baked in so that they're not feeling like they're in a class, but they're having fun over the summer.
Yeah, especially after being in school all year. It's
Right.
a little more hands-on, having fun. And even that, again, I keep using that word variety, but from what I've looked at in your information, it just seems like there's such a variety for whatever a kid might be into, whether it's science or arts or the outdoors, anything.
There really is, and the different arts and cultural institutions are beginning to recognize that this is a great audience for them to be able to have at their organizations. So as we're teaching the museums how to work with the autism population and families, they're also learning how to create programs that can be inclusive and participate and make sure that those kids with autism aren't sort of stuck out on their own for the summer.
Great. Well, we are running short on time here, but is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the Autism Society Minnesota that we haven't already touched on?
Well, as I said, we're turning 45 this year. It's a big milestone for us. We have a 45th anniversary celebration gala coming up on April 29th, which is during the Friday of our conference, and we'd love for people to join us and participate in that celebration. And then just please come visit our website at ausm.org and learn about the breadths of things we do. And give us a call if there's something we can do for you.
I know we have great information on there, how people can become a member, or just list of the different things you offer.
And we take calls from all over the state with people just wondering, how do I access resources? Is there a program near me? Or a variety of other things when they're struggling to figure out what that path is. And that's what we do. We're here to help them, connect them to the resources in their community and help them be as successful as possible.
I know in the past, we've often relied on, you have, usually different resource guides where it has, if you're looking for a dentist or,
Right.
Different things like that, that maybe specialize in helping kids with autism. You can easily, get lists of that or places that provide therapy. And it's kind of nice to just have that all in one place like that.
And that's what we strive to do, is make sure that we can be that hub and connect people to the spokes that are going to get them what they need.
Okay. And again, that's ausm.org.
Correct.
All right. Well, we hope people go to the website, get more information, and we wish you guys the best of luck. And
Thank
I'm sure
you so
we'll
much.
be talking to you again soon.
Wonderful.
And it's time for another short break. We'll be right back with more of Northeast Journal in just a minute. Welcome back to Northeast Journal. Earlier in the show, we learned how dogs can help kids with autism. Horses can also be incredibly beneficial too. Here's a story on a therapeutic horseback riding program in Lake Elmo.
We're a therapeutic horseback riding and carriage driving program for people with special needs.
Joan Berg is the executive director of the River Valley Riders and owns many of the horses that are used for the therapy. She's a special needs teacher by day, and it was through that job she discovered that many of her students benefited from being around horses.
So the horse is an amazing animal. At first I thought of them as a tool because they work great with tight muscles. They work great if kids are going to try and hold on to reins, and you get that feedback right there. But more than a tool, they're a companion, and they have a way to elicit responses that I just can't do, and success.
A wide variety of people come out to ride the horses every week. Karen Hargis's son, Austin, is on the autism spectrum and has shown great gains from the horse therapy.
When he's on the horse, a totally different kid. There's a sense of calmness about him. He can catch one-handed, and standing on the ground, he can't catch with two hands. So it's brought a lot of good things out in him. His speech is there. His social capabilities have gotten better.
I do different kind of activities and stuff, and do like trail riding, like go over the place.
Christy Cargill's daughter Emily is one of the youngest riders at 5 years old. She's already a seasoned veteran of the River Valley Riders, and Christy says the therapy is helping Emily's multiple needs, including low muscle tone.
And she's just happy when she's on here. When the horse is moving at a good pace, her head control gets better. and she tends to sit up and look around.
Lisa Selly's son Christian has autism, and she's seen his confidence grow each time he rides one of the horses.
Well, the first benefit that you can see is right when he's on the horse, his posture just improves. He sits so nice and straight, and he's so natural on the horse. And strengthening his core muscles, like abdomen and back, are one of the things that we need to work on with him because he has low muscle tone. And also, he just can pay attention a lot better when he's on the horse.
Berg is always around horses, whether with the River Valley Riders or at her farm. But even she admits it can be a mystery as to why horses can help with so many conditions.
Well, what's interesting is that you're up really high. And I remember riding one time down our road, realizing there was a pond, because I saw some really beautiful white geese on this pond. I never even saw that pond when I walked that road. So you see things that you don't see when you're up on that horse. And you can see farther, you're taller than everybody else. I don't know, it's empowering.
Berg is a blur of activity on riding nights, making sure all of her volunteers are in place and that all of the riders are having fun. She hears many success stories each week from the parents in attendance.
I'll hear that the rider is sleeping better. I'll hear that the rider the next day at school is in a better mood, or possibly they're chatting more on the way home.
River Valley Riders offers therapy in 3 locations, Lake Elmo, Scandia, and East Farmington, Wisconsin. They're currently raising money to add a site in Afton as well. The season lasts from April to October, which causes many of the riders to miss the horses during the winter.
Oh, he can't wait. In the wintertime, he's already saying, Mom, when do we start horseback riding? When do we start horseback riding? He can't wait to come back. So if we could go year-round, oh, that would be the world of him.
To learn more about the River Valley Riders, visit their website at www.rivervalleyriders.org. There are more and more programs popping up these days to help kids with autism get involved in athletics. One of the more popular ones is proving to be the martial arts. Let's check it out. Participating in sports can be a challenge for kids with special needs. But a Woodbury karate school is giving those kids a chance to kick their way to the top. JK Martial Arts specializes in teaching kids with autism and ADD.
Many times there's tightness in their muscles, so it increases their flexibility. Many times there's a balance issue, so it helps them with their balance. Many times they're not real strong, and so it helps them with their strength. And actually in their mind-body connection, understanding where their body is in space. It's really helpful for that also.
Catherine Engstrom is the sensei or head instructor at JK Martial Arts. She owns a school with her mom, Joyce Brecky, and loves teaching kids of all abilities.
I get a reward every single day coming into class and seeing the students that have challenges with their bodies, and even seeing them do jumping jacks for the kids that that motor planning is really hard, and having the parents come up to me and say, I never thought my kid could do X, Y, and Z, and they're doing X, Y, and Z. And that is something that you can't put a price tag on.
Joshua, a student at JK Martial Arts for over a year, tells us his favorite part of studying karate.
I guess it's pretty fun to learn the new moves, especially when you master them.
JK Martial Arts tailors their teaching to each student's individual needs.
To experience success is absolutely so important in life. If we experience success, then we can build on that and become better at everything. So when the kids come, it's absolutely crucial that Sensei and I give them compliments and assure that they succeed in every class.
That's all we have time for on this month's show. Thanks for tuning in, and join us again next month for another edition of Northeast Journal.